What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we've been talking about the SRL side of things, and I want to go over some of my best tips and secrets and hopefully some useful advice to help you win more races and get some faster times. So SRL is actually quite a lot more complicated than it seems. There are quite a few little things you can use to get an advantage, and little things that people don't really think about when racing. I see all the time, especially in these early days when everyone's still kind of getting used to it and it's quite new. So these will be some of my tips for any of you who didn't really play much SRL last year, or maybe new to the game or constantly coming in last place. I know some of you watching this will probably be really good at SRL and already know some of the things I'm going to mention, but again, this is more for those casual players who are relatively new to the mode. So beginning with the basics, my first and most important tip is to actually make sure that you do have a full set of SRL gear, the actual Racing League set. And this isn't just for visual purposes, it doesn't just make you look cool or make you look the part when you're actually racing. These actually have some very, very essential perks, and some are more important than others. And I still see so many people in my races not using this gear set. They're still using their raid armor, their trials armor, their PvE stuff. But I guarantee you this SRL gear is actually very important. It isn't just to look cool, it's actually got some really useful purposes. So especially the helmet, that is the most important piece of armor, and it's got the most important perk in all of SRL, and that is the air control perk right here. There are actually some helmets that can roll with other perks, but the main one you want is of course air control. So if you get a helmet with this, you're definitely in luck, and it's going to help you quite a lot. This allows you to use the left stick to actually pitch the Sparrow, and you can use it forward or back, and you can basically fall faster or stay in the air for longer. This is really, really important because it basically allows you to control how you're actually moving in the air. So for example, there's the Mars map, the Campus Martius map. You simply cannot make that massive jump just before the fans, and you'll almost always end up just bumping off the ground, doing that bounce. You'll hit the ground, maybe damage a Sparrow, or sometimes not even make the jump at all. It's happened to me so many times before, and I was wondering, how is everyone just making this jump so easily, and why am I not doing it? The simple answer is to use this helmet, and you pull back on the stick, and that lets you stay in the air for longer. It's very basic, and so many people just miss the jump and wonder, how am I not making it properly? And the answer is this helmet. And at the same time, you can also hold down on the stick, and that'll make you fall through the air faster and basically avoid airtime, which is definitely a bad thing. You do not want to be in the air with a Sparrow because you can't turn, you can't boost, and essentially just killing your momentum. So you want to stay out of the air as much as possible, and this helmet is really crucial to making sure you're controlling your airspeed and keeping your momentum as much as possible. So of course, on top of that, the other armor sets do have very useful perks as well. Not as useful as the helmet, which is definitely a game changer. The others are quite helpful too. The gauntlets let your side boost take less fuel, which of course is very nice to have more boost, and could be the difference between boosting out of the way of something or not and crashing into a wall. The chest piece isn't too great. The main perk on that lets you have a reduced cooldown after your Sparrow is destroyed, which, let's face it, you probably shouldn't be crashing off the map, and hopefully that isn't something you encounter, but I guess it could be helpful if you do fall off the map. And the boots are also quite good. These let you get more fuel from performing tricks, which is another thing I'll get into later, and the cloak just gives you more reputation, which is always nice as well. Now, a very strange kind of secret that I also want to talk about is to do with the actual matchmaking that a lot of people don't know about, and it's a really weird trick that you can actually use to get easier lobbies, because the criteria of matchmaking is very, very strange, specifically in SRL. So this is around last year, and I didn't expect it to still be around this year, but it is. And essentially, matchmaking will always place you in lobbies primarily based on your performance of your last race. I say primarily because obviously we can't know for sure, and there are definitely some other factors in there as well, and I obviously didn't write the matchmaking code. But if you do lose a match and come in, say, dead last place at the bad time, you'll notice almost every single time your next race, it'll put you in a lobby with very, very easy opponents, and it's honestly hilarious just how easily it works. It's like 9 times out of 10, it always happens. But say you have a really bad race and you come in dead last, almost every time you'll notice you do so much better in that next race, and matchmaking is essentially feeling sorry for you, and it ranks you in a lobby with other people who've got a similar racing time to one that you just got. It also, of course, goes the other way, because if you win with a really good time, your next lobby is probably going to be filled with other people who've got similar times, and it's going to be a lot more sweaty and more difficult to consistently win. And you'll notice in SRL, it's a lot more difficult to get like 10 wins in a row, because the matchmaking does work very specifically like that based on your previous times. Obviously, you can't really massively exploit this, because if you were to deliberately come in last so you can get an easy lobby, the next time you're probably going to win that lobby, and the next one is going to be difficult again. So you could, if you wanted to, I guess, lose deliberately every other game, and then win every other game and have easier lobbies, but you are wasting a lot of time just deliberately losing games. You're kind of ruining the experience for other people, so you can't really game it that easily and just deliberately lose, because you're wasting a lot of time for yourself and, of course, other racers. But pay attention next time you do really awfully and come in like last place with a horrible time, because the next game is probably going to be a lot more easier, and something really funny I've always noticed specifically about SRL matchmaking. So the next tip is to do as many tricks as possible to get extra boosting energy, and that of course is again going to make the difference between maybe making a jump or not making it, or boosting out of the way of something. But essentially anytime you're in the air that you have to be, you should definitely do a trick. Just press down the D-pad. Very simple. A lot of people think it's more complicated. Doesn't matter if you can't do it in time, it just won't count. But essentially anytime you're in the air, always look for opportunity to do a trick, but at the same time don't just go looking for any possible ramp, because airtime is a bad thing and you can't control your Sparrow, you can't boost, and essentially limits your momentum. So try and get into the habit of any ramp where you have to be in the air to do tricks on it and get some extra boosting energy, and having loads of boosts available will always help you hit those gates and essentially keep your speed as high as possible. Another very quick tip is to do with the Venus map, and you should always take that shortcut above the little ramp to avoid taking the corner. The hitbox is a lot bigger than you think to actually make the ramp. It does look like it's very strict and difficult to make, but it is a lot bigger than you think it is, and even though you're missing that gate on the turn and it reduces your speed a tiny bit, it's always worth it then going all the way around the bend, and especially it takes a lot of skill to master how to take the turn without slowing down. So nearly every single time it's always been beneficial to just go straight over it and take the ramp, as opposed to going around the corner, which often can get you messed up, and especially with the amount of people crashing into you, it can often turn very, very messy. Now, another tip with the gates that might sound very strange is that your Sparrow doesn't actually always have to go through them in order for it to count and give you the speed boost. The most important thing is that your camera in the middle actually goes through the gate, which sounds very strange, but essentially it doesn't really matter where your Sparrow is. Most of the time the Sparrow is in the middle, which is why it counts, but essentially sometimes your Sparrow can completely miss the gate. As long as your camera in the dead middle of the screen goes through the gate, you can actually get the speed boost and it will count. So sometimes if it looks like you're going to miss the gate, you can just tilt your camera a little bit towards the gate to actually go through it. Even if your Sparrow completely misses it, you'll still get that speed boost. And there's a little trick that I always use myself if it feels like I'm going to miss the gate. So there you go, those are a bunch of my quick tips and advice for those of you trying to get into Sparrow racing and that may be new to it or casual players. Of course, if you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, a like rating would be much appreciated as always. Comment down below how you're getting on with SRL, your thoughts and if you've played it much and how you're getting on. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.